someone, you never really forget them.
Who could have polluted the entire Earth?
September 21st, 1945. That was the night I died.
Anger of the old reflects the anger of the earth. The earth knows it's wrong for us to survive.
Concrete roads everywhere I go. But I had no idea my crystal was so incredibly powerful.
There's another curse. Make all your bacon burn.
Totoro? Is that what your name is?
It's time for Argo City Podcast to jump into the world of Studio Ghibli. The world of Studio Ghibli.
And we have returned!
And we've kind of got a side quest this week. We're still in Studio Ghibli, but this is a documentary rather than a feature.
Yes, this week we watched The Never-Ending Man, Hayao Miyazaki, which is essentially, he's come out of retirement for the third time, and he's working on this movie called Boho the Caterpillar.
Well, and he's just trying to do a short. And
yeah,
part of it's about experimenting with new media, experimenting with new techniques, seeing what we can do to integrate CGI, or if it's even possible. And it's interesting because he's open to the idea of using CGI, but just
he doesn't like it, but he's open to it.
Well, I mean, literally, he's drawing over it. It can't quite achieve what's in his head. So he's got to go in and redraw frames, redraw moments. This needs to be bigger.
You need to have more of a curve in the caterpillar.
He's having a hard time conveying this to the animators. I mean, to the point where he's drawing it and trying to illustrate what he is. It's interesting to me that even in this context, he's still trying to communicate those ideas through drawing, through art.
Yeah, through physical pencil and paper. It's even hard to... It's hard to say, but I've met a couple people that are still really big pen paper artists, but I also know a few of my friends that are very much digital tablet. They like doing the art on the art tablet, and it's I respect you pulling out a piece of paper. He's just reaching towards the screen to grab a piece of paper to do something. It's oh wait, there's not paper here.
And see, I'm a little bit in the middle there. I still hand draw most everything that I do, but then it's going to get scanned and put into the computer so that I can clean it up, so I can sharpen this area, so that I can add color, because I'm completely rubbish when it comes to coloring. Actually, even still on the computer, I'm not great at adding color, but there's still hand-drawn pages of the entire... I actually have them all together in one binder, everything that I've drawn for the last book for A Long October. And I'd bet that if I looked, I could find pages for Winter Night or Night No One Forgets, all of those things like that, or pieces of pages. And the pages that have been penciled and then inked over. But the thing is, once I want to clean it up, I want to make it better.
Yeah.
So I like it as a tool. He's almost going in the opposite direction. He's starting with something that's computer generated and sketching over top of it to make it better. It's like the reverse of what I'm used to.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. At one point we get a decent overview of the room, and you have multiple stations and stuff. I find it funny that he's in the very corner, in his own little section, but we see this beautiful not pastel, but this beautiful painted area with pictures all up around them. They're sitting at their desk, and right next to it is two computers, and it's it looks so out of place among everything else in this room.
And part of the reason he's doing this, some of it is he's getting older, he's slowing down.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They talk about how Studio Ghibli basically disbanded in 2015, or right before 2015.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is, okay, so everybody's we're on hiatus, which basically means everybody's laid off. And in a place like this, usually it's not necessarily, at least in America, it's not necessarily a normal work contract. Anyhow, you're probably self-employed and a contract employee. So it comes and goes in studios like that. You man up, you crew up when you're in production, and then things just kind of wind down, and you hope to get called back for the next thing. I mean, that's really normal in the studio system, whether it's the Hollywood system or the animation system. So for them to have kind of emptied out the office, it's normal, but it's also, they were kind of figuring, yeah, no one's coming back. It's sad to see Studio Ghibli completely empty, completely barren.
It's so, like, that entire office is literally empty. I can't even imagine, like...
I knew, I had a client ages and ages ago who he kept, after he retired, after he closed down like his law practice, he still kept the office. I mean, he'd go there to, he would tell me, I'm heading out here to get away from the wife, to watch the races, to bet on the ponies. And but you'd walk through the building and it's just empty.
Yeah. It's like, I'm looking up to see exactly which one he retired at around the time of this one. I want to say it was when Marie was there, because that's 2014, and that's the earliest one the latest one that I'm seeing.
Remember, it takes about 2 or 3 years to make one of these too. So yeah, it could have been before that. It could have been after that. But that'd be like right around, like I said, it's 2015, and they've already shut the place down.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, see, I remember hearing about other people who came out of Studio Ghibli and then created their own studios. I kept thinking, what am I thinking of? Where have I seen this? What is it that I'm remembering specifically? I'm specifically remembering Studio Chizu, which right around this time, actually, maybe a little bit later, but right around this time, they'd start putting out their own movies. Around 2021, 22, they put out Belle.
Oh!
Yeah.
We watched that. I think that we watched that one before the podcast.
We did, but it's that, in fact, you actually waited over a year, because there wasn't an English dub for a while there. It came out specifically in subtitles, and you didn't. We found it. I got it for you. But it's just in subs. Well, there is no dub. So it was about a year or so later before we get this very Ready Player One kind of anime.
Yeah, and it's like, if I'm not mistaken, Miyazaki really did encourage them to go off and start their own studios. If I'm not mistaken, he did help as well. Like, I don't know if it was funny, but I know he was encouraging of it.
That wouldn't surprise me, because watching this, you kind of see Miyazaki working as a mentor.
Yeah.
What it reminds me of a lot is, I've got to go into the comic book universe for this.
Okay.
So, in the early 90s, we've always been a DC Comics family, and right around the time when comic books were really hitting and getting popular, right during that investor boom before the bottom fell out. One of the things that was happening in the industry was that a bunch of the biggest hotshot artists from Marvel, mostly, decided, you guys are not, you're not paying us enough. You're not taking care of us. That royalty system that Jim Shooter put together, I'm not, we can do this on our own. And so they left and they formed Image Comics. And Image really became like the third company outside of the big two. But that also encouraged a lot of others. It encouraged that kind of, okay, let's throw our hat into the market. Let's see what we can do. One of the people to do that was Jim Shooter. Now, Shooter is a kind of controversial figure in the comic book industry in that he was tough and sometimes he rubbed people the wrong way.
You mean like he was just like stern, or?
Yeah, and he had very specific ideas. And artists tend to be a little high-strung. We are not necessarily stable people.
You're not wrong there.
I have enormous respect for him, though, especially because he was the one who instituted a lot of the practices that made Marvel great in the 80s as far as royalties and trying to maintain continuity. Well, enough people disliked him that they managed to get him out of Marvel.
Yeah.
So around this time, he started his own studio with a couple of friends, or, well, business partners. They weren't friends by the end. It ended ugly. But the studio he created was Valiant.
That sounds familiar.
It is, because you were watching me file a bunch of trading cards last couple of months.
Yeah.
A lot of those are from Valiant.
Oh, okay.
Like there's one of the Valiant superheroes is in my top 5. It's the Shadow Man, a kind of voodoo hero from New Orleans, and Shooter was behind a lot of that kind of stuff. So he was building a studio. Now, we're getting to the point, I promise. The thing is, Valiant couldn't afford to hire really hot, good artists.
Oh, no.
It's not that they're hiring bad people, but they weren't hiring the trendy people that you were seeing go into Image, or that Marvel was telling their artists to imitate. So, what he would do instead, they'd hire young artists, people fresh out of school, people looking for a gig who wanted to come in and learn. Mm-hmm. And he created what he called Knob Row. So it's like where the young artists were, and the older artists could mentor them.
Oh, that's so nice.
On Fridays, they'd have just tutorials. Okay, we're going to focus on hands today, because that's a lot harder to draw than you realize. We're going to focus on scale today, because, yes, I know Exo Man-O-War is supposed to be big, but he's got to be consistent. We don't want him looking like a giant in one issue and then just kind of looking like a puffed up wrestler in the next. We got to keep this consistent. And that was one of the things that Shooter really emphasized at Valiant, that kind of mentorship, which it's more valuable than anything else you could get.
Yeah.
And I feel like they talked about it at the end of this, we'll crew up. And if we can't get some of the old people back, we'll recruit new ones. Who would not want to go to Studio Ghibli to learn?
Dude, that would be so cool. Like their specific style that would be such a cool experience.
Their work ethic, their process.
You could just see all of them, and like you said, we can't know for sure if they're playing it up for the camera, but they're laughing with each other. They're having a great time. They're dancing around the room. Like, that's one of the reasons why I have a love-hate relationship with my work. Everybody there is so fun. We'll run around singing and dancing all day. And it's like, that you can tell that it's a good environment there.
But at the same time, Miyazaki is not playing. Okay, so he also, this is why he reminds me of Shooter. He is stern. He has a specific thing that he wants.
Yeah.
And he's not going to accept less than what he wants.
Yeah, he's like, if you can't do it right, get out.
Right. And that is not a friendly or comfortable work environment. But he mentions at the beginning that, this song, Let It Go, is the most popular thing in the world right now. And it's about just being yourself and how being yourself is the greatest thing. I don't know. It's not. This is horrible. We want to strive to be better.
Yeah.
We want to strive for excellence, to grow. And you know what? I love that. I really appreciate that, because that is not our culture. We are taught, and this started in the 80s, really. It really did. So my generation got hit with it first. We're taught so much about self-esteem.
Yeah.
Love yourself. You are just fine, just the way that you are. What if you're not? What if you could be better? And I want to be better. I just turned in, we just did the art show up at Caron John's, and I'm looking at the pieces that I've submitted this year, which were ridiculous.
Insane.
The number of characters that I'm squeezing in to these pieces, I have to remind myself next year that when this comes around, 2 or 3. Just 2 or 3. Not 7 or 9. 2 or 3. But I look at some of the pieces that when I first started participating in this art show, I'm not happy with them anymore.
Yeah.
They're not great. They're fine. They're acceptable. But compared to what I'm creating now, and that's just looking at how I've evolved as an artist in 10 years. If you look at my first Iron Man suit downstairs, it is big and clunky. It gets the job done. There was no helmet for that originally either.
Yeah.
It was just me in the beard and sunglasses. And people were like, it's kind of like a Hulkbuster, isn't it? It's not meant to be a Hulkbuster. It's just big.
Oh, no.
But if you compare that to the God Skeletor outfit that I retired on, I mean,
yeah, you can't really beat that.
And the point is, no, I'm not good enough. I need to be better. I want to be better. I should be better.
And I actually want to talk about this a bit, even from my own perspective. I'll say a lot of the stuff, a lot of the media, a lot of the stuff that is aimed towards girls is be yourself, be unique, yada yada yada. So I grew up with like a lot of that, and I'm kind of on the edge where I'm like, yes, you should have a certain amount of self-love, or else that'll really cause you to go down. But you shouldn't let that limit you. You should love yourself at a baseline and just keep trying to improve yourself.
And you know what? I don't know that be unique is necessarily incompatible with be better too. Because we want to, it's not that I don't want you to be you. I want you to be even more of who you are and the best version. And we're striving for that. And Miyazaki is striving for that.
Yeah.
And he is pushing his people to strive for that, just like Shooter was pushing his artists to strive for that. And I love that kind of a message. we see a lot of flawed characters in Miyazaki's work.
Yeah.
And they really genuinely are striving to be something. The whole lesson is you can be better. You can do something else. Spirited Away. That is a flawed, spoiled little girl who, in a moment of anger, destroys everything and turns her parents into pigs. She's got to rise above that. She's got to become better. It's not enough to just be her.
No, and even then, like, with Miyazaki and his constant, like, correcting and such, you can still tell that there's a certain amount of trust there. Hey, can I show you something? Absolutely, lead the way. There's, it's like that communicative that I absolutely love. But, on the other side of this, and it's even relevant to now, with the CGI, which honestly, I always forget that CGI isn't just, like, your big explosions or your, like, weird creatures, but being able to do it like this. But they get into the idea of AI here. And it's fascinating where he instantly shoots them down.
Well, the AI is horrifying because it hasn't learned how people move yet. They also make some fairly accurate predictions. The idea of a computer painting like a human being within 10 years.
Yeah.
And we're at 10 years. And
like, this is 2018, so...
Yeah, and a computer can paint like a human being.
And it's terrifying.
It's not great. I don't love it. I don't mind it as, like, I'm not opposed to using it as a tool. I'm not opposed to jumping into AI and saying, I need to know what you think give me ideas for a building with trees in the foreground and the building in the background and grass, and then taking that and okay, I'm going to draw that, or I'm going to convert that and add what I want on top of it. Much the same way that I'll go into downtown and take photos, and then I'll take those buildings and add to them, draw on them, and redo them.
Like, I kind of did the same thing. I would use it for a lot of the prompts for some of the skits that I would do back in the time. Actually, no, AI wasn't a thing back then. But, no, I've kind of done the same thing. Used it a little bit for, like, inspiration and such. As
a tool and as an inspiration, but not as a replacement for the thing. Because the replacement for the thing, it just isn't. And I don't know where that's going to go, but it's weird to see how dead on they were. And you're seeing it in its infancy right there. I think if I'd watched this back in 2018, I don't know that I would have agreed or would have believed them. And how far we've come. Yeah,
it's AI and all of that stuff has improved so fast, so quickly. Like, it's kind of terrifying, but it's kind of refreshing to see him, the guy that's known for his hand-drawn animations, say, get out.
Yeah. And it doesn't work. He can't make it work. It doesn't work within his context. It doesn't work within his style.
Yeah.
None of the CGI just... It's not something he can really work on. The one other thing I was looking at was just kind of him as an artist, and as he reminds me in a great deal of Jim Henson in this empire that he built.
You're not wrong. Like, just different style.
In the focus, in the way that it pervades his entire existence. If you go to the house, there's little Ghibli doodles that are saying, please use intercom. And
so it just cute.
It feels so much like a Henson thing. Those feel like very parallel tracks. In fact, I would compare him more to Jim Henson than I would to Walt Disney. Despite the fact that the art forms were more similar, but I don't know, the tracks and the worlds that they're creating and inhabiting feels more Henson to me.
Because, like, it's a whole group, but it's a small group. It's a group of specific people that he's, constantly working with. And now that you say it, yeah, I can absolutely see it. I wonder if they would get along. I don't know if they would.
I'm not sure if they would either, because Miyazaki strikes me, while he's got sensitive notions to him, he strikes me as just a much stricter, aspirational, art is the business, but we have to make the business art. Henson was an old hippie.
Yeah, he was like, we're doing it because we love it.
And he was more laid back, and Miyazaki was not. That's where I think they might clash. But I don't know. I genuinely don't know. The other thing that I can't help but notice is that he's constantly smoking through the whole movie.
Yeah,
But you know what? There's a reason for that.
Oh?
There's a reason that you'll see a lot of artsy people, a lot of artists smoke.
I mean, stress, I presume?
It's kind of, but it's more the opposite. It's focus. Nicotine actually creates a sharper, more direct focus on what you're doing and the ability to hone in on those minute details. It's a stimulant, so it's taking the chemicals that it's releasing
It's the same way with my ADHD medication. It's a stimulant. The whole point is to give your brain the dopamine that it lacks in order to allow your brain to actually focus. It's the only reason I survive in this world. But yes, not nicotine, not nicotine. Please don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. Please don't do drugs.
Jack Kirby would constantly smoke cigars.
Really?
Really. Absolutely, positively. There's a reason why a lot of his characters smoke cigars. You see Nick Fury smoking a cigar in the comics. You see the Thing smoking cigars in the comics. So it was, and he would just go one after another. And a cigar can last an hour or two. Those are designed to go longer. He would do that while he's drawing.
Oof.
And it was a thing. There's a funny story that the guy who owns Mile High Comics in Colorado, so he, back in his young days when he was first starting out, he did Comic-Con. He did San Diego Comic-Con when San Diego Comic-Con was a small hotel show.
Hard to picture that.
It really is, but that's where it started out. And Kirby would show up because Kirby wasn't necessarily appreciated as the icon he is today.
Oh, poor guy.
He was and he wasn't. At one point, there was somebody following him around, and he would just rescue the cigar butts from the ashtray, and he was keeping them in plastic bags so that he could sell them.
What?
He could sell Jack Kirby's old used cigar butts.
Ew, that's
And yet there's comic book people whose ears just perked up. Like, really?
I'll admit, I don't like being around cigarette smoke. It gives me headaches. I can't be around it for very long. It sucks that a lot of people at my work smoke. So I'm biased to the fact that I don't like that. It makes me
Well, and this is not an endorsement. It's just an explanation.
Yeah.
It does not surprise me to see this because the kind of hours that he's working, the kind of workaholic and how much...
And it's worse so in Japan. It is normalized that you will work for, like, hours. There are essentially, like, no breaks. There are... a lot of people say, like, the last subway train leaves at midnight, and they have pods and hotels that go 24 hours because a lot of times you're not going to be getting home at a decent time. The working society there is absolutely horrendous, even more so than here. It's terrible.
The other thing that I was thinking though that occurred to me. We talked about how this is like his third coming out of retirement, and you're looking at the age and you're trying to figure out. But the thing is, when artists don't really retire, or they don't want to retire, you're going to create. An artist is going to create art in some way or another, or else you can't stop. My grandfather, at 99 years old, he played his last gig with me 2 weeks before he died. Not even 2 weeks.
My gosh.
He could sit on a chair. He could play he could still play his banjo. He could still play the violin. He could still please a crowd.
That's incredible.
So
wow.
It doesn't surprise me to see him constantly coming back and constantly wanting to do more here.
Yeah.
There's another one. There's actually a couple of Miyazaki documentaries. One of them is Miyazaki and the Heron, which I suspect that's what he's going into at the end of this, I think.
He released the Heron in 2023. He's actually working on another film as well. We don't know anything about it, but he started again.
So whenever we get around to The Boy and the Heron, we need to pull up that documentary and try that out too.
Yeah, maybe I'll do them like the week after or and such for that particular one. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see. There's another documentary on there as well, on
Man and Monsters, something like that. King of Dreams and Madness.
Yes. Which I've seen a lot of stuff of that particular one.
Well, that's a long one, too. That is a full 2-hour documentary. I like documentaries, so it may be something else to look into at some point here as well.
Yeah, there's a lot. I love how we essentially didn't talk about the movie at all.
Well, I mean, it's just the process, and it's going in, making of this movie that we can't go see.
Yeah, it's literally like you were looking for it, and it's only in the Studio Ghibli Museum, and I want to see the film. I want to see it. It just means I have to go to the Ghibli Museum.
So anyhow, I think that's it for this week. I promise that next week I will have figured out my phone, and there will be less ambient noise. And in the meantime, we will see you next week.
Bye.